Boom, shaka, laka, boom. Your boy is back. A trip to the doctor's office yesterday. Men's Health in Mississippi. Got me my Decatron shot and Z-Pack. And what else? I think that's about, it's some Claritin D. Well, that's over the counter now, but I did go and get some. Some Claritin D, a lot of water, and boom. I'm almost 100%. I did not think I was going to make it here this morning if you had asked me about 4 o'clock yesterday. But about 7 o'clock, started coming on around 8 o'clock. By the time I got in bed, about 10 o'clock last night, I was like, I think just some sleep, I'm going to be good. You know, Shaun, for once, I went to sleep, and I did not wake up till my alarm went off. Like, I didn't toss, I didn't turn, I didn't get up to use the bathroom, nothing. So I was obviously tired.
Yeah, sounds like it. You've been sick all week, so.
Yeah, yeah. Well, like, it started, I didn't know I was sick. I mean, I knew I didn't feel good, but it felt like because I'd worked out really hard, did a bunch of ridiculous squats and, really heavy weight workout Saturday.
Yeah.
And thought I had just really overextended myself.
And it's so hot, too. Right now, you never know if it's like heat exhaustion.
Yeah, I just thought, I really didn't think I had like a sinus infection. But it is. Come to find out, it kind of hit me a little different than normal. But hey, I'm back. We're here. Did not want to, after coming off the 4th of July week and then being sick Monday, I just did not want to miss another day, and I'm glad I didn't. Glad we're here. We got Shaun Yurtkuran here in the studio with us, streaming worldwide at WYAB.com as well as the TuneIn app and Alexa. Just search WYAB. Hadn't said that in a while. Of course, if you're listening on the radio, we're on 103.9 FM, WYAB, all throughout central Mississippi. If you want to chime in this morning, the Guns and Gear text line, 769-241-1944. Be sure to get out to Guns and Gear right there, Highway 51 North in Gluckstadt. Of course, you can always shop them online at gunsandgearms.com. And the crazier these things get in the world, the more you need to be stockpiling the things that they sell at Guns and Gear, whether it's freedom seeds, a.k.a. bullets, ammunition, or guns. Hey, maybe you got some guns that you got. Maybe you inherited some of Grandpa's old guns, and you don't know what to do with them. Don't know if you want to keep them or not. Don't know what they're worth. Don't know any of that stuff. Man, why don't you take them out to Guns and Gear and let Hunter and the team appraise them, make you an offer on them, get them cleaned up for you, do any gunsmithing, Cerakoting stuff you may have. They can do it all right there. Guns and Gear in Gluckstadt. And again, shop them online 24/7, 365, gunsandgearms.com. And don't forget, they buy guns too. So if you got some, you want to trade yours in, you want to sell yours, they buy guns. You ain't got to meet no Craigslist crazies or marketplace maniacs in that world either. My goodness, I don't think, Shaun, I can't think of something I'd rather do less based on the news than meet somebody to sell them a gun offline.
Yeah, I'm not doing that. I mean, didn't that happen in Rankin County?
What happened in Rankin County recently? The white kid and the black kid.
Yeah.
It happened. It happens everywhere. Frankly, our friend, brain fart. Anytime I could told you her name right off the top of my head. Friend of the show, she made a post the other night, and she said they're trying to sell their vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
Name. Anyway, it'll come to me. She texts and calls show all the time. Anyway, she's been on the show. Anyway, she made a post trying to sell their vehicle, and somebody reached out about it. It's like $20,000. So she's like, okay, great. Meet me at either Brandon Police Department or Pearl Police Department. Because she listens to the show. She heard me rant about this 18,000 times. They immediately blocked her.
Yeah, I mean, I ever tell you that happened to me one time? Of course, I didn't meet at the. I was selling an Apple Watch a few years ago, and so this guy wanted to meet in Clinton. He said he lived in Clinton. I said that's cool. I was going that way anyway, and so I did. And over there by the right there on that main drag. I don't know. I'm not super familiar with Clinton. There's a Starbucks. Anyway, so
80?
Yeah, well, there's like the
Spring Ridge Road.
Yeah, right when you get off the interstate. And so I was like, yeah. I'm going to Starbucks, and I'm thinking that's fine because it's Starbucks or whatever. You're gonna get robbed in the Starbucks. It just didn't seem like it. And the dude's like, oh no, you need to come out to my car. And I was like, yeah, right. Now something's up. Yeah. Okay. And I said, so I kind of like easily walked to my car and went to the there was like a little hardware store right there, and I just called the police, and the guy was sitting outside like texting me like, just come out to my car. I'm like, do you think I'm an idiot? Like, I'm not coming to your car.
By the way, it was Amber Northwood. Oh, thank you. I was just like I just on the tip of my tongue. Don't know why I couldn't say that. But yeah, man, be careful.
Yeah, it's dangerous. It's dangerous.
It really is. Like, she did the exact right thing. You know, we've talked about this a lot, and I'm not going to pick up a segment doing it. But if you're selling a vehicle, take it to a dealership. I'm just going to tell you, you're going to save yourself a lot of headache. Dealerships are paying good money for vehicles. I am not currently doing the Clayby's car stuff. I had an agreement with a dealership. That agreement's up. I'm kind of taking a break from that until a situation that I have more control of presents itself. But take it out to Noel Daniels. Take it down to Mercy House Auto Center. Take it to one of these bigger dealerships, whatever. Mazda Jackson. Take it out to Mazda Jackson. I mean, they buy cars all the time. These dealerships, it costs them so much money to buy from an auction, to then have to recon that vehicle. When you're buying it direct from an individual, they've kind of done a lot of these basic maintenance stuff, unless they're getting ready to trade it in sometimes. Anyway, you can get a good deal without having to deal with all the headache by going and selling your car to a dealership. Because half the time you get these hustlers over there, and they pretend they're going to pay what you want to pay, and next thing you know, well, man, we take $5,000 less. You know, it's
always a lot of that.
It's a lot of that.
I mean, I think it's also any item that you've got that you're going to sell on Facebook. You know, meet at the police department, dealership. I think it's a great idea with cars, or sell to the dealership, like you're saying. But it's just dangerous out there.
And do not take a certified check. I don't care how real it looks, how local of a bank it's drawn on. If Pookie and them roll up with a certified check, don't take it. You're going to have to do a little bit of profiling.
Yeah. You know what an easy thing is, actually, Clay, I'm thinking about? So I've got this Square thing, you know what I'm talking about? Mm-hmm. And, for my business, I get clients, and they want to use a credit card to pay me. And it is I was kind of nervous when I got it, because I was like, I don't know how to use a credit card thing. It's the easiest thing in the world. And so, I mean, it's free. It doesn't cost you anything. Obviously, you got to pay a processing fee when you use it. But, I mean, if you're selling a whole lot of stuff, I think it's the easy way to do it, because someone just charge it, go straight to your account, and you're good to go.
That's like my Shopify account.
Mm-hmm.
You know, same concept. Square. I think Allison uses Square.
Yeah, it's free. I mean, it's like it's a free thing to have. So, except for you're going to pay a little processing fee, but at least you're getting your money.
I am perfectly okay paying a processing fee if I choose to use plastic.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that the vendor, the seller, should be responsible for the processing fee. I think they've gotten too high, and if you choose to not use cash, I think you need to pay that 3% or 4% or whatever it is. I think that needs to be passed on to the customer. And I'm saying this as a customer.
Mm-hmm.
I've been shocked that that lasted as long as it did.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because I went to the mechanic shop the other day, and they charge a little processing fee to use your card. And I totally get it, because, 1 month you can have $35,000 in processing fees.
Sure.
Why are they supposed to eat that? Because you chose to pay with plastic and not money.
Yeah, no, I mean, I understand, especially like in retail business. Now, I don't charge my clients I eat that, but not everybody uses a card, so it's not enough of transactions where it's really hitting me.
You also don't have a markup in a product, a small profit margin. I'm not knocking that.
No, I know what you're saying.
But like yours is quote unquote all profit, sort of.
Yeah, it's a service based interest, so you're just it's a different kind of thing.
Profit's not the word I'm looking for there, but it's you don't have $10,000 tied up in a TV.
100%, right. Totally different kind of business. Yeah. So that's why I don't charge it. I just eat it on that end. But yeah, no, I can understand when I've done retail before, and when you do retail, that becomes a huge issue.
Yeah, like I say, restaurants have had to do it because the profit margins have shrunk so much thanks to Bidenflation or inflation or whatever you want to call it. So I just get it. Do I like paying 3.5%, 4% more? No, but I get that's just the cost of doing business. If I want to roll in there and use something other than cash, it's going to cost me more. It's a convenience fee.
Yeah, and we've kind of gone to that society anyway where everybody's using it, so everybody's used to it.
Now, what I don't like is when I go to a retail establishment that's not a restaurant, or really even a restaurant. If I walk up to the counter and make any kind of transaction, and I have to do it at a counter, don't ask me for a tip.
Other than, that is my pet peeve too. Other than, of course, I'm at a bar top and I'm drinking or something.
Excluding bar tops here. And look, and I'm a good tipper. Like, my girlfriend makes fun of me. She's had to take tipping away from me and do it at times.
Oh, I'm the same way. It's like 25% most of the time. That's how bad I am, with it. But
I just never want to give anybody the never want to let anybody say that Clay Edwards was a bad tipper.
Plus, it's like especially if it's someplace I go all the time, like Martin's. I mean, I'm not going to like short the bartenders I see every day. Like, I'm not doing that. But I think the problem though, what you're talking about is like when you go to like everything is now this tip culture that they
twist the iPad around.
Yep.
And put you in this weird guilt situation.
Yeah, I don't have guilt anymore.
I don't either.
I don't anymore. Like it's like here, let me ask you. I was like this: do you tip the barista if you get coffee?
I know. I feel like there's a culture there where you're supposed to.
Yeah.
I rarely get. This isn't the thing I have to encounter a lot because I just make my own coffee. But I do like.
I'm kidding.
I do like mocha mugs out in Brandon. Yeah. A little drive through, and the young kids there are nice. And I usually tip $1 or $2, something like that.
I do too, but I also do also. But the reason I brought it because like if you buy like a $3 cup of coffee, like and you're doing percentages, you're like, wait a second, okay, I don't want to tip them like 40 cents, so you always end up giving them $1 because that's you get no choice. You can't tip them, based off a percentage off like $3.
Yeah, I don't mind like a roundup, round it up, and I think that adds up quick because heck, I got two beer pitchers full of change at the house from over the last couple of years. Mm-hmm. That is just basically where I rounded up, for the $1 that was in my pocket or change and throw it in there every time. So that adds up. Mm-hmm. I probably got, I'm guessing $400 or $500 in change.
This is going to sound terrible. I don't tip the Uber driver either. I don't. No, because I'm paying the fee to take the car. I just don't. I don't know. I don't ever do it.
I do. I tip $5. I'll tip at least $5 on that.
I don't know. That's the one I have hard. I'm like already paying for this service here. I get it. Like, of course, bartenders, waitresses, that kind of business. But like, I'm already paying for this ride. So I don't know. It's like, but if I get on the bus, like I don't tip the bus driver.
But you're already paying for the beer and stuff too at the bar.
Yeah, but they're also their industry. They're not making a full wage.
Yeah.
So I think that's the difference to me.
Yeah, I mean, we got plenty of Uber drivers that listen to this show.
Oh God, they'll hate me now. Sorry, guys.
Well, now. You take short Uber rides, too, for the most part.
Yeah, they're very short, right?
Yeah, mm-hmm. So it is what it is. Well,
I know. Sorry, I'm going to get hate mail for that.
No, but real quick, and I want to close this out. When we come back, we're going to jump into Joe Biden, and I want to talk about Trump's VP pick. I want to talk about who's going to be Kamala's VP pick if it gets that far. I think that's where the direction this is going to start. This conversation is going to move to here in the next couple of weeks, a month anyway. I don't know if it's going to be by the DNC or immediately after it, but anyway. The tip culture thing.
Oh, there's so many things like this though that like there's a specific business, but I'm not going to bring it up. But that I never do, and I'm like, why am I tipping you for this? I don't know.
Yeah. But which is if I go grab something off a shelf, and I walk up to the counter to pay, and they're all using this app called Toast now, and I think they probably provide the equipment. And it's an app, and you get points when you use it. And look, I've gotten the points add up quick with Toast. Burgers Blues uses it, and some others. I don't mind. That's a restaurant. I don't mind tipping there. But there's just other places you go, man, that they do that. And like, why am I tipping you for putting my stuff in a bag? Like, you should take that off. I've quit going to some places over this stuff. Like, because I'm not going to be put in this spot where I look like the bad guy. And because then everybody knows who I am nowadays. And then it's Clay Edwards didn't tip nothing. Yeah. And that's not my ego running out of control either. That's just the way it works nowadays.
But I think that they pushed us into this position because it's become such a commonplace that we've got to tip for every dang thing we do. That now you're like, you got to pick and choose and you got to look like the bad guy. Yeah. Because you're like, okay, wait a sec. Because I don't remember this 20 years ago tipping for everything all the time, except for when I went to a restaurant or got my hair cut. Those are like the two things.
Now, you know what? Now, I date a hairstylist, so I understand now about the tipping your hairstylist. And
I've always
that's
done
a
that.
Thing. I never had a clue. But I always went to a $10 barber type thing, too, $20 barber. It's going up over the year, but I never knew about. That was just never a thing that I knew.
Really didn't know?
About tipping hairstylists. I'm like, and girlfriend talks about people tipping, $20, $30, $40, $50 sometimes, I'm like, wow.
Well, that's what I was thinking about. Like, we're talking about the Uber driver. Like, I used to take cabs all the time. I don't remember tipping the cab driver.
No.
I just remember paying a flat fee for the cab.
Well, that's a good point. We got Ryan on the line here. On the Mazda Jackson phone line. Ryan, what's up, brother?
Hey, man, what does gratuity mean to you? What does that mean when you see it on your receipt?
That's tip. It's a forced tip.
Right, and that's what I don't like.
It's commission, basically.
People at the restaurants will put it on your receipt and then still had a handout for a tip. But like, wait a minute, I just paid this already.
Man,
so why am I tipping you?
I did that the other night somewhere. I don't even remember where we went. It was 5 or 6 of us, table 100, and somebody actually bought our dinner, but we had to buy our drinks. Well, I wasn't thinking about it already having gratuity on the ticket. So I tipped like $25 when gratuity had already been added, but I already wrote it down there. And I was like, man, I'm gonna look like a real cheap a-hole if I go back and change this. But yeah, that got me there because they had already put the commission, whatever you want to call it. It was great service. If you ever got a over tip somewhere, it's table 100. Their staff is amazing. I mean, for real, but still, it was like, dang. So I actually ended up spending like $40 on a tip on a $100 tab.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I was like, oh, that would hurt, but I didn't want to look like the bad guy going back and scratching it out and be like, I'm sorry, 0 tip,
Yeah, I understand, man. Well, y'all have a great show, man. I'll listen on the radio.
Thanks, Ryan. Appreciate it, brother.
Here we go. CNBC backs you up, Clay. What they say about tip culture, that you should never have to tip for a takeout order. No. Like that's it's kind of outlining the things that you should not have to do, and that's one of them. Like a takeout order is not something that you should tip for, even though it says that we're a culture being forced to do that.
Yep. Yeah. I get, and look, I'm gonna tell you, just to be fair, I understand both sides of it. I'm just saying, on this side, I don't like it.
Right.
All right. Yeah. Let's take a break. This is the Clay Edwards Show with Shaun Yurtkuran. We're live here on 103.9 FM WYAB. Mazda Jackson phone line 601-879-0002. Guns and Gear text line 769-241-1944. Going to tell you guys about a great new partner we got on the show here in a little bit, and Shaun and I are going to get into this Democrat chaos. We'll be right back. Welcome back into the Clay Edwards Show on WYAB with Shaun Yurtkuran. Guys, Mazda of Jackson. The deals are hot this summer at Mazda of Jackson. You already know that Mazda is one of the top 5 most dependable car brands out there. And Mazda of Jackson on I-55 Frontage Road has hundreds of new and used cars available. Brand new CX-5 crossovers rated 9 out of 10 by Car and Driver. The CX-30 and the CX-90 SUVs, both rated 9.5 out of 10, are in stock now at Mazda of Jackson. Mazda also include a lifetime powertrain warranty, and ask about Mazda of Jackson's special financing deals going on right now. It's time to choose Mazda of Jackson, I-55 Frontage Road in North Jackson, or of course you can shop them online at mazdaofjackson.com. Go over there and see my buddy Grady, man. I worked with Grady and Richard over there. I worked with both those guys for about 5 years at the Toyota store when I was in the corporate world for a little while. Great dudes, been selling cars in Jackson for a long time. You don't run into them. There's other great sales guys and girls over there as well. But it's locally owned. I just can't express how important that is. And I think actually every vehicle there, not just Mazda, comes with a free lifetime powertrain warranty, new and used, when you buy it. You also get a free 43-inch TV, and you get the owner's cell phone number. So if you have a problem, you don't want to have to deal with the middleman, the sales guy, and them trying to talk to the manager about getting something done, you text the manager, the owner, locally. They're there. They're in the office. They work the deals at the desk. They're not these managers or owners that stay hidden between 3 or 4 levels of management. That puts them under more stress, I promise, but that is so rare in a franchise dealership like that. So Mazda of Jackson. All right, Shaun. Let's see here.
First thing, I got something to say. You love this one. George Clooney can go jump off a bridge, man. George Clooney. And here's why I'm going to say this. So if anybody read, I don't know, the George Clooney did op-ed in the New York Times yesterday.
Yeah, I got pulled up here.
Asking Joe Biden to drop out. And in it, he says, at that fundraiser they had in Hollywood several weeks ago, he's like, I noticed that, the president was not the same as he was in 2010 or 2020. He was not, he was incapacitated. And I was thinking this, like, everybody's like, oh, George is so great for standing up. It's admirable. I'm like, no, he's not. If he knew it then, why didn't he say something? Like, hey, this is a problem. The president of the United States cannot function. But now he's a hero he's like, after there's a debacle, and now he's like, oh, yeah, he needs to get out. Like, man, no, come on. Like, so I'm not praising George Clooney right now. Like, I just think that's BS.
It is. Because he has the media to hide behind.
Yeah.
And he has the big donors, himself included, to hide behind. But nobody can come out and be the first to say it. That's why I want to know who hit the button, who sent the text or whatever.
Order 66.
Order 66 after the debate.
Yeah.
Because it was 100% in unison, same talking points, just like them. It reminded me of the that viral clip of the hundreds of different news stations talking about the COVID vax being safe and effective, and it's the same little one paragraph script, and they were all on it.
They're all jumping on. No, I mean it was definitely from the moment the debate hit, all this hit, and then this is another thing that was really funny to me. So Monday, you and I have been talking about this. I know I haven't been on air, but the Biden is defiant, like he does the Winston Churchill "we will never surrender" kind of speech, right? And he gets on Morning Joe and threatens the Democrats to take him down to the convention if they want to, and all this crazy stuff. And then you know what they did? They doubled down.
Yeah,
they've doubled down this week. They're like, all right, Joe. Now, of course, there's been some. I guess spineless, or most of them are spineless right now because they're all thinking it. And they all want him gone, but they're not saying it publicly. So what they do instead is said, let's go to our buddies in Hollywood and get them to do it, because if they do it, then they're not politically liable, right? Uh-huh. So that's kind of, to me, what's going on right now. You're seeing a lot of deflecting to Hollywood and the donors class, because you got the lady from Disney saying I'm not going to give them any money. You got all these people talking about this. So the politicians don't, because they have no spine and they can't. They're worried about retribution from the president, and they don't want to say it. But they're all privately saying, heck, if you read Clooney's op-ed, he says that they've told him, all of them, all the House Democrats and the senators have said, the ones that he talks to, which is probably most of them, because I'm sure he raises money for a lot of them, is that Joe needs to go. Well, if all of you think that, right, in the entire country, today a poll was released in ABC, 2 out of every 3 Americans think that Joe Biden should not run again for president. So if 2 out of 3 Americans think that, and everybody in the House thinks that, everybody in the Senate thinks that, okay, everybody needs to get out and say it. We can't just sit there. This is not a dictatorship. It's just not. And that's what you're allowing Joe Biden to act like at this point. And that's why I've been so angry all week, because he's acting like this is a banana republic right now. He's going out there and saying, I won't leave. His only advisors are like his family and his friends, those close whatever people. And he's refusing to do what is clearly that we all see. And that's just a massive problem to me.
Let me ask you a question. Jerry texted in, but Jerry asked this, and I'm going to massage it and ask it more respectfully. Mm. At what point did you know? I mean, you're a kind of a blue no matter who kind of guy, to an extent.
Well, I don't know. You and I have been talking for a long time. I've said that I was going to vote for Kennedy for a year now. Yeah, I think I started saying that.
Where were you on the Biden stuff, like with the dementia, whatever, his mental incapacities? We'll just say whatever it is, Parkinson's, dementia, both.
I'd say probably the early part of this year.
The debate wasn't the silver deal.
But you and I talk like every day.
Yeah,
we've been discussing
this is for public.
Yeah, public. So probably early part of this year I started really noticing it, that it was a decline, and that's when I was telling you I can't responsibly vote for Joe Biden at this point.
Yeah, behind the scenes, Shaun has been, and frankly, in front of, we just haven't brought this up publicly. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Shaun's been on this. He sees all the clips. He understands the difference when something's not a cheap fake or a deep fake and all that.
Yeah, I mean it's just been obvious, and I was hoping that the party would do something before this.
Yeah,
that this was an issue. I was talking to my friend Will that you've met many times before about this, because I was hoping they would do it last year, and that there would be an actual primary. Of course, they didn't do that, and this has kind of been my prediction. I didn't know it was going to happen to this scale, to the scale that we're looking at now, but I thought it was inevitable.
Let me put you on the spot.
Yeah.
If Joe Biden is on the ballot, the election's going to be November 5th. Mm. As of right now, if Joe Biden's on the ballot and Kennedy gets on the ballot in Mississippi, which he wasn't last time I heard, but I surely they'll get that worked out. Who is Shaun Yurtkuran voting for if nothing changes?
I'm voting, actually, I was going to vote for Kennedy. I'm voting for Donald Trump right now.
Really?
Yeah, and I'll tell you why. I've thought about that a lot this week. This has pissed me off to a point of just insanity.
Yeah.
Like, this is, you are selling to me that I am, I'm country first, right? Or I'm, there's an existential threat.
We're talking about the Democrats.
The
Democrats. Period.
Well, I mean, partially the Democrats too, because if they had any spine, they'd do something right now.
Yeah.
And that's my problem. Like, they're falling in line.
I'm going to say this real quick. One thing we're seeing through this is how much power the president has.
Yeah.
And which is, I think, healthy for the country too, in another situation. Because it is really hard to remove a voted-in president if they don't want to go.
Yeah, now it's almost impossible. I mean, they really can't do anything right now. Yeah. They're going to go to the convention, and what are they going to do? Now you got the pledged delegates and the super delegates.
Yeah.
They're stuck with him. And so he's just going to pull this train down with him because he wants to be president still, even when he's obviously incapable of doing that. The next point that I make, and I've told you this privately, and I finally saw some House subpoenas yesterday regarding his aides to who's covered this up. This is like a scene out of my favorite show, The West Wing, when the president has multiple sclerosis and some of his administration had hid it from the public. And then they start having congressional hearings about it. And, I know it's funny to relate this to a TV show, but if anybody wants to watch it, it's a great show. But that's kind of what's going on here. Now you have a group of aides that has obviously covered up the condition of the president of the United States and hid it from the public, and we don't know who's running the government at this point. And I feel like there's a crime in there somewhere that needs to be uncovered. Then I don't know who's responsible, what aides, which aides are making the decisions, because we don't know that. I mean, at the very least, what should have happened, in my mind, if he was incapacitated, is someone should have alerted the vice president and explained that to her. Now, I don't know what she seems like she's out of the loop, though, on it with his close people. That's the way it appears to me.
That's the way it appears publicly.
Yeah.
She's not in that inner circle.
Mm-mm.
Let's take a call. Remind me to ask you don't tell me the answer right now. I want to, if Kamala is the candidate, we welcome back into the Clay Edwards Show. We're live here on WYAB. Hey, guys, I'm going to save that. We got a new partner I'm so excited to tell you all about, but we're going to wait on that. One I can spit out a little quicker here is telling you real quick about our great friends over at Lakeland Glass and Tint, located right there at the OG location for all your windshield repair and replacement, automotive glass repair and replacement needs. Right on Lakeland Drive, right there in front of Red Arrow Car Wash. It's Lakeland Glass and Tint. Every windshield replacement comes with a free, one-time, anytime Rock Peck chip repair card. I got it right today. I stumbled all over that trying to say it the other day. And, of course, you can get the industry leader in window tint, ceramic coating, ceramic window tint, paint protection film, getting your vehicle wrapped, whether you just want to change the colors, go to one of those cool matte finish colors or whatever else, or turn it into a rolling billboard. Shaun, the FJ Cruiser will look great with a Yurtkuran law firm wrap around it.
Actually, I like that idea.
It's time to change up the baby blue a little bit.
Yeah. Well, I already had, who's doing that, you said?
Lakeland Glass and Tint.
Oh, they already did the wrap on my car, too.
Yeah, they did your hood.
The hood, yeah, did a great job. They always do a good job.
Yep, and that's another thing. Yours had some oxidation, right?
Yeah.
And they put that wrap on it to kind of cover it, make it look great, and it does. You get that a lot in Mississippi, so you'll get an oxidized vehicle, and it made us all messed up. Wrap is a great way to hide that without having to go get it clear coat, painted, and all that involved.
Yeah, I was in Utah, drove it out there. I like going hanging out in Utah and camping and stuff, and got caught in a sandstorm, and it got in the paint.
Yeah.
And then once I got back to Mississippi, like you're saying, it just you ate it to pieces. It took a couple years, but just ate it up. So
well, they can prevent that stuff from happening too with the paint protection film by Expel. Get over there, see them today. You start online for a free quote at LakelandGlassandTint.com. And don't forget, they're coming soon to downtown Brandon. Lakeland Glass and Tint 042. Opening soon. Trust me, I'll tell you when we get more details because I'm sure they'll have a little grand opening celebration. All right, Shaun, let's jump back into this. Nancy Pelosi. And Shaun's going to expand, too, on why he won't vote for Kamala either. So I don't even know if we should take credit for Shaun converting or if it's just they've done such a bad job that
this last week should take credit. This is what it should be.
We'll expand after this clip here.
Sure.
So Nancy Pelosi, now she was probably drunk at 9 a.m. when she said this. If I was 80 and a billionaire, I'd be drunk at 9 a.m. too. Drunk on power. And but Nancy Pelosi got on MSNBC and made a really interesting statement. Now, we all know Joe Biden has come out and defiantly said he is running. Shaun sent me screenshots of the fundraising emails, and I mean, I get a ton of them from Trump. I get it, but the Biden camp has made it clear that Biden is running. Pelosi either hadn't got the memo or she knows something we don't.
Does he have your support to be the head of the Democratic ticket?
As long as the president it's up to the president to decide if he is going to run. We're all encouraging him to make that decision because time is running short.
Does he have your support?
Let's just listen to that one more time. It's only 15 seconds.
to be the head of.
What I want y'all to hear is her say he has to make his decision when it's clear his decision's already been made. So just listen to this one more time.
Democratic ticket.
As long as the president it's up to the president to decide if he is going to run. We're all encouraging him to make that decision because time is running short.
They're encouraging him to make that decision to step down, is what she was trying to say. But she is drunk. Shaun?
Yep.
What you think?
Well, I think it's obvious what's going on. It's all of the members of Congress on the Democratic side want him gone. Now, only a few have the balls to say it publicly, and the rest are scared about retribution from the president. That's why they're not saying it. Now, Nancy Pelosi is obviously in that circle that's telling him, you need to step down. And that's why she's saying this after he did that defiant speech on Morning Joe on Monday, and all who, by the way, are holding water for him as well, which is just another issue with me about how they flipped on that. Yeah, back to the whole Kamala thing. What's bothering me about that is, and this has nothing to do with her capable. I don't, there's been a lot of talk where she's not capable. I don't know whether she's or not. I'm not. I have an opinion of that one way or the other. What I can see is now you want to force her down our throats. Like, that's not cool either. What we need to have was a primary that we were supposed to have with the aging president. In 2020, everybody said this is just a bridge to the next generation, which of course didn't happen. So I don't feel like you get to say, well, you have to take Kamala, and let me tell you why Kamala is so great. And that's what they're doing on the cable news stations and then, certain op-eds and everything. That's not fair. There's a lot of good candidates that I've looked at for a while that I think would be good candidates that I think need a shot. James Carville said this in the New York Times a couple days ago. He's against this Kamala idea too, just, giving her the throne. He said that, what you need to do is have Barack Obama, Bill Clinton host town halls around the country, like 4 of them, and take the certain number of candidates and let them talk to the American people, and let's see who would be the next nominee. To me, that sounds like a great idea.
Do you include Robert Kennedy in that?
I would include him. I don't see why not. I think he's gotten some. He's campaigned enough, and he's got enough votes. I would do it I think you pick him. Like Andrew Bashir, maybe Whitmer, Newsom, if he wants to, unfortunately, and Kamala, I think gets a shot too, obviously. And I think that's fair. I think that's what you do at this point, because what you did instead was, for the last year, was just cut everybody out and just say Joe's getting it, and we're also not going to tell you his condition. So I think that's the fairest way to do it. So no, I wouldn't vote for Kamala because I think they're trying to force it, just like they forced Joe. And I do want to backtrack on one thing. If Joe had just said, I quit after that debate and realized it, I'd be fine with them picking someone else. And I wouldn't be like, I'm going to go vote for Donald Trump. What's pushing me to him is what he's done since then is it's the after. It's not the debate. It's the after stuff is where my anger comes from. That's what's making me really angry.
We got about a minute for the break here. I tell you, we had this conversation in depth yesterday on privately. I thought after that Axios article that came out, was it Tuesday or Monday or whatever day it was, Tuesday or Wednesday? I thought Tuesday, where they had that private meeting with people who were worried, the down ballot people who are really worried about
sure,
in the contested districts.
Yeah.
And they said they were in there crying, and not over Joe Biden,
right? About themselves, and they came out of it and said, "Hey, look, it's clear that our rebellion is over. Yeah,
that everybody's getting behind Joe." And within 24 hours, Clooney comes out, Pelosi comes out, the mainstream media doubles down.
Yeah,
it is the rebellion.
The Parkinson stuff started. The Parkinson stuff.
The rebellion is just beginning, apparently.
Yeah, I don't think it's over. I don't think it's going to be over, and it shouldn't be over.
No,
I mean, and if they want it to be over, the House members, they need to come out and say it publicly, because that's their duty. Is they're supposed to serve the public. And I think when they're not serving the public when you're not discussing the president's mental incapacities. So I think they need to do that just to have any credibility with anybody at this point. This has been the worst possible way to handle that debate, post-debate stuff that could have ever happened in my mind.
We got to take a break on this. For the takedown of Biden immediately after to be so orchestrated, it was complete chaos.
Yeah,
and apparently they forgot to tell Biden that if we hit the red button, you're done.
Yeah, I mean, and also Biden apparently doesn't care about taking the country down and the party down and everybody. He doesn't care. That's just
long as he gave it his best shot.
Long as he gave his best shot. Oh, and he consults. What did he say? I'm consulting Hunter.
Yeah. We got to go.
Okay.
Breitbart came out with an article late yesterday that said Hunter is the acting chief of staff right now.
I actually believe that.
I do too.
You know,
we'll be right back. Boom goes the dynamite. Welcome back into the Clay Edwards Show with Shaun Yurtkuran here on the Clay Edwards Show. Shaun, we haven't plugged the law firm in a while, brother. Plug yourself.
Oh, yeah, great. What's called speaking out yesterday, the law firm I went to a wills and estates seminar, which wasn't that bad. You know, you have to, when you're a lawyer, do what's called continuing legal education, and it's always due at the end of July every year, which means every lawyer I know doesn't do their CLE till July, which we're in July. Yeah. And I went, and it was pretty good. So if anybody needs a will now, let me know, because I sat through 8 hours of learning that yesterday.
Can you do living wills?
I don't know if there's I don't know if I didn't learn that part. I didn't hear them say living will. I don't know if there is a living will or not, to be honest with you.
I just hear people talk about that, like a living will.
That one I'm going to have to Google. But I know that I can do a will.
Yeah.
It was a good class, actually. The most interesting thing from it that I learned real quick was that, was the prenuptial agreement thing. So like 10 years ago, 4% of the American public had prenuptial agreements. Now it's 42% because of the high rates of divorce. And I was like, well, that's pretty fascinating that people are getting smarter and saying, hey, we're probably going to get a divorce, so we need to have a prenup.
Yeah. And prenups aren't always just about money, right? It's about, like, being able to take what's yours when you leave.
Yeah, a lot of that, like your retirement stuff and, you know, other things that, you know, you relinquish rights to. So it was good. But, yeah, I mean.
I would like to see, is that on first marriages or second? Like, what's got the higher prenup
that
rate?
I don't know. I'd have to look. Yeah, he didn't say that. He just gave us those statistics, and I was like, that's
like first marriages, people are usually young and smitten in love, and we're going to spend the rest of our lives together. Usually by that second, you're a little more calloused.
Yeah, I mean, no, I know. Believe me, I've had 2 marriages. I know what you mean for sure. But yeah, I mean, to talk about the law firm, yeah, everybody needs. My primary thing, obviously, is criminal defense, and that's my specialty. And I actually, if you want to call and you need some help, whether there's a DUI or anything else that you did, it's 601-906-9094. And speaking of that, I'm kind of back in the game. I got a murder trial going in 2 weeks, so I can't talk about it now, but I'll let you all know about.
Got a very interesting murder trial going.
It's going to be pretty fascinating. And
you got hired for a capital murder too, right?
Yeah, I got a few of those. I got more than one capital murder. I'm kind of the murder guy. You kill somebody, give me a call. It's kind of always been my specialty because I did so many of them. So, anyway, so yeah, if you need help with if you've killed somebody or you get drunk and drive, give me a call.
Yes. Yeah, so if you're new here and kind of because the show is growing, so I understand we get new people. Sometimes we got to reset. Shaun's on the show because he brings such a unique perspective to things as, kind of a lifelong Democrat. And then, but it's more so than that, it's the 10 years as assistant DA in Hinds County under Robert Schuler Smith and all of the stuff, the major trials he prosecuted. He's got the only death penalty in Hinds County in the last, 30 years?
20
years. Yeah. So he may be a Democrat, but he's a law and order Democrat. And you just heard him. He's a Trumper this time around.
And we'll get into all of that.
I don't think he's a lifer, but maybe for this run, he's a Trumper anyway.
This cycle, I'm going to get me a MAGA hat,
Hey, real quick, guys, we're going to be telling you more about these people as we go. I held a lunch last Friday at the old George Street Grocery. It's been called Old Tavern for almost 20 years now, but it's just forever George Street in my brain, like most people. They are now a partner here on the show. Get by there. It is like walking into a time capsule. The building, the building was built in the 1800s. It turned into George Street Grocery around 1910. Eudora Welty wrote a book about it. She grew up around the corner. She used to walk there and get all of her groceries. It turned into a bar and a nightclub over the years. B.B. King's played there. Stevie Ray Vaughan's played there. Afro Man cut his teeth there. And those are just 3 off the top of my head. It is a legendary. I mean, I know we throw that word around a lot because, sometimes people's definition of legendary is different. This is not, we can all agree. This location is legendary. It's in the Capitol Police District, the CCID, so it's good and safe over there, and which all that whole area is. I had my family. Tell y'all how much I trust the Capitol Police. When we had this lunch the other day, my mom and dad came. Our friend Lindsay came, brought her 2 kids. You are fine down there. So please make sure that when we're talking about Jackson stuff, that when we tell you it's safe in the CCID. Now, I'm not going to bring on a sponsor for South Jackson, not a restaurant. I'm just not going to do it. You got a body shop, something like that, we'll talk. But, I got to know, I had to confidently be able to send my customers, my listeners, somewhere that I feel like they're safe at. Or I'm not going to do it. It ain't worth it. I don't make enough money selling sponsorships to lie to you guys or to just try to make a buck. You have my word on that. And look, they do a blue plate every day, and it's different. It can be different. Every Friday's Fish Friday, but everything is locally sourced from farmers markets, from local farms, all that good stuff. It's everything in there locally sourced from farm to table. And sometimes they'll catch a special on something, but, well, this is neat. We'll do a lunch of the day on this. But, of course, they have their full menu available, too. You can check them out on Facebook. Just go search Old Tavern on George Street. Check it out. Super cool building. And we're going to do another lunch down there here at some point. And they got a huge patio on the side. They bought the Two Sisters building, too. Yeah. They're not using it right now. But they have a huge connecting patio between the two. That's literally the size of a city block. It's covered. It's got a stage. If you got an event you need to do, consider them. They got the whole upstairs. A lot of opportunity there as they relaunch Old Tavern.
It's just a great bar too. It's really cool. It looks like what a bar is supposed to look like. That's one of the things I like about it.
When you call yourself a tavern, in my mind, it's got to look a certain way. This is a tavern.
Yeah,
it looks like a early 1900s tavern. I'm going to go out on a limb here. I don't have any data to back this up in front of me. I'm going to go out on a limb here and say this. I bet you that is the oldest building in town with an operating business inside it.
Probably. I bet you're right.
Not the same business long standing, but I think it may be the oldest standing building with a business. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I mean, I get it. It was built in the late 1800s.
Yeah. I mean, think so. The only one I think of is around the same age as Spengler's Corner right there.
Yeah.
That's the only.
And what's that? What's that photography studio that's haunted that was right behind Cookout and the old Chimneyville Steakhouse, Chimneyville Barbecue, right off High Street?
Yeah, I can't remember what that's called.
That's a really old place too. But anyway, I could be wrong on that, but definitely one of the oldest that's still standing that has a retail business in, not just like a law office or something, but a retail business you can go in and soak in all the history. Old Tavern on George Street, right behind the Sillers building and right behind the Supreme Court building. So check them out. All right, Shaun, let's you turned me on to something the other day that frankly, it flew under the radar. I missed it. There's been all this
Biden.
Well, there's been all this bickering back and forth in the about Project 2025 and Agenda 47. And look, I'm going to be honest with you. Either one works fine for me. There's some stuff in 25 I'm not a big fan of. There's some stuff in 47 I'm not a big fan of. But overwhelmingly, I like both of them. It's just not an argument I care to get into, but I do have the data if we need to. But what I do find interesting is what you uncovered is that Trump and the people that he's installed, Laura Trump and others, in the Republican National Committee have changed or are about to take it to vote to change the platform of the Republican Party.
I thought they did vote on it Monday.
Did they? Okay.
Yeah, I believe they did. And
it passed?
Yes, I believe so. That's correct. I'll double check that, but I'm pretty sure that it did. And what it is, it's a complete overhaul of the Republican Party platform, which, speaking about me saying I'm going to vote for Trump this fall, it's a socially liberal platform now, which is stuff I agree with. Now, one of them portion is, he says specifically they got rid of the stuff about abortion and gay marriage. It clearly took gay marriage off the being, marriage between one man and one woman. That's gone from the party platform. They said Trump is for pro-gay marriage and he believes in it, and that's what he wanted. So
Ashton Pittman is going to be very disappointed.
Yeah, he's going to be disappointed about that.
To hear that.
But Trump has said that, and that he's 100% for it. Another thing he said, they got rid of the fundamental right to life portions in the platform, and now what it is only is, I'll quote here, we will oppose late-term abortions, which I'm against late-term abortions, so that sounds fine to me.
And it was also about just saying there's not going to be a nationwide abortion ban.
Correct.
We're going to respect the court's decision, and it's going to go to the states.
Yep, and so that's all gone, and now they replaced the stuff about the national debt, that part I disagree with. I think that is a very important thing.
Explain that.
They took that portion about, worrying about the deficit that was in the platform, and now it's replaced it with tariffs. So, now the Republicans are, Trump is very pro-tariff, and that's part of his plan, which is a complete shift from, Republican theory for so many decades, being anti-tariffs, being basically for free trade. That's Republicans have been for that forever. And so he's just completely it's not the same party, Clay, with this platform.
Well, Democrats have been pro free trade too, right? That was the whole NAFTA thing and all that.
Yeah, they started becoming that way more in the 90s. Before that, they were very protectionist and, pro-union. Now, union people are all with Republicans. And so, but they were a union party and, America, build in America, make it American. But that kind of shifted to they became more free trade.
So and the upside to the tariffs, at least what I saw when he did it last time, was it brings manufacturing back to America.
And that's the goal, right? Yeah. That could happen. Now, of course, there's negative consequences too.
And, the trickle-down effect.
Sure.
Well, yeah, I mean, sure, it may cost more money, but if we're making more money, and I get it.
I mean, there's arguments on both sides. Yeah. I'm not well versed, to be honest with you, enough about it to really, probably get Russ in here to clarify his opinions on that. I would think, but that
is definitely a Russ conversation because I'm not an economist. I tagged Russ in something the other day about nuclear. Lefties are pro-nuclear again too, by the way.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're going to be building these. The government just passed this huge deal to build some clean nuclear power plants to power some of these data centers. And I tagged Russ in one of the Krasenstein's tweets and just wanted his thoughts on it because he's always
he's into that stuff.
He's a fan.
Yeah,
and got him to explain it to me, and I was like, "Thank you, it makes sense."
Well, I mean, France is. I don't think anybody would consider France a conservative country. They've all been known to be liberal. 80% of their power is run off nuclear.
Yeah.
So I mean, but back to this. So it's amazing like how Trump is so powerful in the party that he has changed it to fit his image, what he wants. And what you've seen though, because since Monday, since this got done, social conservatives are freaking out.
Now define a social. Because see, okay, you mean evangelical conservatives? Is that another word?
Yeah, that's what I mean. I guess it's a better way of putting it. I think the people the evangelicals. Thank you. They're freaking out about it, and I've seen it on Facebook too, and Twitter, and everywhere else. Different commentary because they felt like Trump sold them on like he was one of them, but which he wasn't. But he gave them. My argument with them is he gave them the judges you wanted, so you got that. I mean, you got Roe overturned. You wanted that, so you got that. Now he's just deciding that this is the direction he wants the party to go. Which I mean, Clay, when you think about it, it makes it more palatable to other people that don't have those positions.
Well, it's a separation of church and state.
Yeah,
a little bit too. You can go be to all the church you want and live your life like that if that's how you choose to do it. And God knows I lean more towards that direction than I do the other direction on a lot of things. Mm-hmm. But I can see how that can be a turnoff. And look, we can do the flip side of this and talk about the stuff that the left pushes. That's the complete opposite that they don't need to push either. Mm-hmm. Like to me, this is. Shaun, we talk about it a lot. I just like, man, we just got to get back to the center, to left of center, to right of center. We got to get back to the center a little bit. And I think what Trump is doing with the Republican Party is trying to make it more appealing to Gen Z, and to millennials, and to frankly detached Gen Xers. I think who you stand to lose here some is the boomers, but where do they go?
Right. Yeah, I mean,
because abortion doesn't affect boomers.
No. I think whatchamacallit, I think they're actually more in Biden's camp. I don't know what the polling is on that.
I know. I saw that pre-debate where the boomers, because most of them get all their news from Fox News, CNN, MSNBC, and they were leaning more towards Biden.
Yeah.
It's weird. It's weird.
It's weird.
All of it's very weird.
I know.
We're not talking about Southern boomers here. So Southern boomers, for the most part, are still, dyed-in-the-wool conservatives.
Sure.
But just like there's allegedly some black people somewhere that are going for Trump. I ain't seeing none of them around here. I know there's a few. Don't get me wrong. Ryan called into the show. We got some people. Ryan is a converted fella. But we've got like some ladies, that called into the show, some black ladies, and they've been Trump supporters. They're not recently converted. But they say that, anyway.
No, I know you're right.
I just think it's a myth. It's a myth somewhere.
I don't know. I think it's because you're thinking of the South, where it might not be as prevalent. But in the Midwest, though, from everything I'm reading and seeing the numbers out of there, I mean, that's happening. There's a shift, especially among African American men. Though that's how specifically them. There's been a big shift on that.
At least the kind of black women that I see that are out there publicly open, they are very in the. Whoopi has poopy days too.
Yeah, I saw that.
I mean, they are frontline Biden. When Karine Jean-Pierre, the gay black vagina, came out to do her press conference an hour and a half late the other day, she mentioned more than once about the black congressional PAC or whatever, having his back, like, blah, Black folks got Biden's back, even though I don't know what he's done for black folks other than give a gay one a job as House Press Secretary. I think Biden's done more for trans people than he has anything. Like you got to pick a group that's been in America. Obviously Ukraine has benefited more from Biden than anybody. But anyway, go ahead.
No, I mean I think I think it's it depends on, like I said, I think it depends on what part of the country you're on. Trump had that meeting at that black church in Detroit. You saw that. I watched it too. And I think there's a lot of people in those states, black folks that are trending that way from the numbers that I'm seeing. Now, everything I was looking at on those were all pre-debate fallout, that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. So that could have even gone more in his favor. He's doing better. Trump's doing better than with the younger voters. I don't know if he's doing better than Biden, but better than a Republican normally does. I mean, he's doing better with Hispanics as well also, and that may even go up more if he chooses Marco Rubio. So, it's interesting, but, where old people would always generally, when I call old people, I call the boomers. The boomers are old people now. They generally voted Republican or more conservative, but now that they have shifted to Biden, I've read the reasons for that were stability. They've already made their money. They don't want any shake up, that kind of stuff. So, you're going to see, it's going to be really fascinating what goes on, though. But what I can tell you, look, like, if Biden stays on the ticket, the thing's already over with. Let's just be completely honest.
I want to see what Jamie Dimon and that bunch have to say now. I haven't heard anything from them. Maybe they haven't been quiet. But like even pre-debate, Jamie Dimon was coming out and saying, "Hey, maybe we need to quit looking at Trump people as the bad guy and see why they're upset."
Yeah, he said that.
He was like, to me, he was the first big name on that side.
Mm-hmm.
And tell people who Jamie Dimon is.
He's the
CEO.
Is it Morgan Stanley or Goldman Sachs? I can't remember.
One of the big banks or whatever. He is the mover and shaker in the financial world.
Yeah, has been for a long time.
And a big Democrat donor guy, all that stuff. And he came out before anybody else on that side.
J.P. Morgan,
J.P. Morgan, thank you.
Yep.
And he said, hey, we need to, and he said it on MSNBC or one of these staunch liberal stations, and said, we need to start treating Trump voters like people, and we need to start asking them why they're upset and saying, hey, Trump actually did some good things.
Yeah.
And we've kind of turned him into a bit of a cartoon character. And maybe we need to basically he said we need to look at this through a different lens. And I gained a ton of respect for him because he didn't have to come out and say that when he did. But I think he's a smart guy, and he was reading the tea leaves and said, I think I need to get on the, for lack of a better word, right side of history.
Yeah, he said it about 6 months ago. Wasn't it? It was a while ago. He was on that. A lot of Wall Street has actually, before the debate, were shifting kind of to Trump. Because, think about it. Biden's going out there talking about, I'm raising taxes on everybody that makes up more than $400,000 a year. I'm sure they're not a fan.
It never made sense to me. No, again, I don't understand economy stuff like that. That's why I don't talk about it much. Really, no point in coming out here and showing my weaknesses every day. I do enough of that already. But just looking at the condition the economy was in and how the stock market was and all that stuff when Trump was in, why would these guys not be in Team Trump unless they're just all so scared of the blowback from the insane left?
Yeah, right. Worried about getting protested and all those kinds of things. Yeah. He came out and saying, no, I haven't heard from the Wall Street bunch, but they're a lot of the Democratic Party donors too. Yeah. So the donor class privately is having a complete meltdown over this. And that's another thing. The longer this goes on with Joe not getting out, how many of them are gone? Yeah.
I saw something the other day that said that this is going to be a big week because the donations are really starting to dry up. Mm-hmm. Hold that thought. We got to take a break. We'll be right back with Shaun Yurtkuran, Clay Edwards Show. To the Clay Edwards Show live here on WYAB. Guys, it's hot outside. Are you having any air conditioning troubles? It's a quick yes or no answer. If you're having any air troubles, whether it be your thermostat, your compressor, you need your filters replaced, any of that stuff, they can do it all at Pure Air Consultants. For over 40 years, Pure Air Consultants has been delivering exceptional cooling systems to Central Mississippi, and they now want to offer you a free rare gift, a free labor warranty for 5 years. That's right. They can also handle new construction builds, thermostat installation, and more. Financing is available. Hey, look, man, it can be so many different things that are going on while your air ain't blowing cold or as powerful as you think it needs to be. Have you had your air duct ceiling taken care of? Have you had your vents cleaned, your air ducts cleaned? Again, so many different things. Let them come out there, especially if you live in a little older house or you hadn't had any maintenance done in 4 or 5 years. July is the busiest month for HVAC guys. More stuff tears up in July than any others. You know, if you keep your vents clean, your filters replaced, and all that stuff, by the time it gets to your air compressor, it may help your unit last longer. So preventive maintenance goes a long way. Let Pure Air Consultants help you out with that. Check them out online at mypureairconsultants.com. Ream, a new degree of comfort. Shaun, I want to say this real quick, and then we got to read some text on the Guns and Gear text line. I don't want to make an argument for Kamala, but I want to make an argument in fairness about Kamala.
Okay.
She's a gaffe machine, but I do think Kamala is a smart person. You know what I mean? Like, she's obviously got instincts and street smarts, and say whatever you want to do about her and about the Joe Brown or whatever
Willie Brown.
Yeah, Willie Brown and all that, and Montel Williams. And, bro, she played the system. She worked it. She's a lawyer. She was a DA. She's attorney general.
She was DA and then attorney general, then senator for California.
Look, man, I know Democrats have a history for failing forwards. Like, I'm sure if Chokwe don't go to jail, he'll inevitably end up failing forward somehow or another, just because he has sold people an image and a message that they like, and hey, people say the same thing about Trump on the other side. So whatever.
Yeah,
but true. They've done her no favors, putting her in some terrible situations, making her the border czar, and then not allowing her to close the border. And about her being a gaffe machine. Bro, I know plenty of very articulate, smart people, Shaun, that are complete idiots too.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We were talking about somebody yesterday who they can just so aggressively and confidently be wrong as much as they are.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I mean, and it's like you almost believe them. Even
everybody's wondering who that is now.
Yeah, like even though you know they're lying. Like, because you know for a fact they're lying. You may have even been there with them when they're telling another version of those events.
Yeah.
But they sell it so confidently and aggressively and articulately that, well, surely they're not lying.
They can't be lying. It's
can't be lying. And then there's people like Kamala who may be really, really smart, but just can't articulate it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
you do
speaking in front of a camera and microphones
it's tough.
It's tough.
No, you know who said exactly what you just said was Crystal and Sager. She said the same thing. She's like, it's so crazy that someone who was a career prosecutor can't articulate something, to a crowd. Like, that's what you do. And, she said exactly what you're saying, that she's not been good at articulating herself at all.
Yeah.
So,
I'm in a case for Kamala. I'm not a fan of her politics, but I do think it's a bit disingenuous to think she's a complete idiot.
Yeah, because we just don't know, I think, or we just can't.
Yeah, she may be, but she complete idioted herself to the vice president of the United States, and we can say she was a DEI hire, all that stuff, I agree, but she positioned herself on the chessboard to get there.
Yeah, which was really smart. Yeah, I mean, and I think you're absolutely right. Like, I don't know that's what I said earlier in the few segments ago. I said, this is not about what people have said about Kamala, why I wouldn't vote for her, because I don't know enough about her in terms of her effectiveness, because I know people just said, oh, she's dumb or she's that. I mean, I don't know that to be true. I don't know enough.
She had her wings clipped and thrown in an office.
Yeah.
Like, we used you for the black female vote. Now just go over here and don't screw up.
Yeah, exactly. They put her, and they kind of, I think this goes back to what we've been talking about all day today. Joe Biden's people that have insulated him. I think what they wanted to do was to freeze her out, because they knew that he might only be a one-term president, and if he was, that means they're out of a job, because it's just because the vice president becomes president doesn't mean that Joe's inner circle people are her inner circle people.
There's a civil war there.
Yeah, I mean,
so
let's make the vice president look like an idiot.
Yes, she's not going to keep Hunter Biden as her chief of staff.
Right, exactly. Hunter Biden, and so, like, of course, the right was like, well, we just want to make all Democrats look like idiots, so we'll help you, Joe Biden people, make her look like an idiot. So they actually did him a favor, making her look. Because I talked to somebody about this the other day, Clay. If the vice president of the United States just was stronger, or was at least perceived stronger, I'm not saying she is or she isn't, but perceived as a stronger candidate. Like if she was Al Gore in the 90s or somebody like that, or Joe Biden in 2010. Let's use that as an example. Then I think this would be an easy transition right now, that we wouldn't be going through this. But I think the public perception of her, which I'm blaming the Biden people more than I am blaming the right on this, freezing her out has made a crisis of confidence, I guess, for lack of a better term, with American people about her ability. And this isn't just Republicans feel this way. I've talked to so many Democrats are all like, man, I don't want Kamala, but none of us know why we don't want her, because she's been freezed out so hard. And then now you see the media is trying to say, okay, well, we're going to reconstruct her. Well, no, you've already just ripped her down for the last 3.5 years, and all of us think that she's not qualified, which probably is an unfair assessment. But
well, the media's lost so much goodwill and trust, and now people in one fell swoop, they're trying to pretend that they didn't know Joe Biden was bad off until the debate. And now they're suddenly the experts on Joe Biden's health. And then they spent the last 4 years doing the complete opposite with Kamala, kind of making her like an idiot. And now they're trying to tell us in just one weird, in wrestling, they call it a double switch.
Yeah.
It's where the bad guy leaves the match, the good guy leaves the match, the bad guy. They're trying to do a double switch on us.
It's funny how wrestling has so many great analogies to life.
It does.
It
does. That's why it stood the test of time. Because, it's relatable in weird ways. You can use it all as learning lessons. And they're trying to do a double switch on us here. And now they're trying to make Joe the heel and Kamala the face. And people ain't buying it.
They're not buying it. And that's what I was saying earlier. That's why when you ask, like, you vote for her, no, because you're trying to construct her. You've just torn her. I don't know anything about her. I don't know what her capabilities are. I can't just say, yes, I'm going to vote for her because I don't know. And it's because of you that we don't know. And it's not just Republicans saying this, it's Democrats saying the same thing. They're worried about it. So they caused all this. And then to your point about the media, I love how now, like, man, we're on them. We're the tough ones. We're here to save democracy. We're here to be honest with the American people. No, you guys knew this. You knew this, and anything anybody said anything about it, you're like, well, that's right wing propaganda, or this is that, or whatever it is.
The cheap fake thing. Mm-hmm. They came out when the right wing people started clipping up Obama having to walk, going back to Clooney here, having to walk Biden off the stage at Clooney's $30 million fundraiser a week ago, whatever it was. And people got the videos, and the White House and the media came out. These are cheap fakes. Here's another angle. All the angles look bad. It's what happened. And Clooney just came out and confirmed that's what happened. And now you want to sit here and tell us a whole other thing. It's just like, you just lie.
Exactly. When again, like when you knew, like, I'm talking about the media. I'm using the media here.
Yeah, the media.
I mean, all the Democratic politicians definitely knew, and the Republican ones did too. But the media knew all this because they had reporters sitting around there watching him doing this kind of stuff. They knew it. I
heard a clip yesterday on one of the many shows I listened to, but it was somebody at NATO. All the NATO leaders are talking about it. One of them, who's a leader of another country, they did not say who, walked up and said, hey to Joe, somebody that he knows well. And Joe didn't even know who he was.
Right there. I mean, there you go.
They say, he's repeating in like meetings, he's repeating his little isms, like his little sayings. It'd be like me breaking rules when necessary every sentence. Like his little taglines, and like, he's already said that.
He's, and also, it's not like he just started doing this last week, by the way. So, and it's not just last week that kind of stuff started leaking to the media. How many leaks do you and I get every day?
Tons.
Okay, about every little thing, So, like, you're telling me that reporters from the New York Times didn't in May of this year, like 2 months ago, have a leak about Joe misspeaking in a meeting or losing his train of thought? It didn't. Of course they did. But you know what they did instead? They're like, oh, we need to keep this under wraps because we can just push him through November. That's what it was. I mean, that's what, and it's obvious, unless you're an idiot, it's obvious that's what they were doing.
Well, it's what happens when activists replace journalists.
Yep.
At the end of the day, and that's why I tell you all my biases up here every day. And I can't be nothing but honest here. I don't call myself a journalist. I am an activist with a microphone, but I do strive for truth. I mean, you talked about this yesterday. We have to be honest. Now, I'm not saying we don't make mistakes.
Yeah.
But we present the known facts, and then we give our opinions on those facts. Now, our opinions may end up being wrong, and I'll gladly discuss the times I've been wrong. I ain't got no problem with it. Hell, it makes good radio. Mm-hmm. But, the media is knowingly lying to get their guy across the finish line.
That's a great point. Let me use myself as an example. You got to be objective. I try to be objective about everything I do. Do you think I like trashing the Democratic Party? That one that I worked on the Al Gore campaign. I worked in the House of Representatives in Ohio, or General Assembly actually. I mean, no, this is not fun for me. Like I'm like, oh my god, like joining the bandwagon, smashing the Democrats to pieces. Absolutely not. But it's just what is factual. And I think I think that's what both sides lose. That it's like we're on red team, blue team. We can't say when somebody on our side does anything messed up. Well, you know what? I'm not going to play that game. Like that's stupid. This is a complete catastrophe. What's happened? It's a fraud on the American public, and it needs to be called out.
Love it. Let's take a break. We'll be right back. Shaun Yurtkuran. We're reading your text next. Promise. Guns and Gear text line 769-241-1944. Welcome back into the Clay Edwards Show. Hey, guys, Parlor 1886 right here in Flores. Flores living room, but it's also a bar, a restaurant, a chill spot. And on Tuesday nights, I know we're a day late and a dollar short for you to enjoy it this week. On Tuesday nights, circle the date, mark the calendar, pick up your phone right now and say, hey, Siri, remind me, my Siri just lit up, remind me that it is family night at Parlor 1886, and they've got an unlimited taco bar and unlimited soft drinks and tea. So they got a taco buffet for you and the family at Parlor 1886 right here on Main Street in Flora. Get out there, enjoy the weekend live entertainment. We're getting close to football season. They're going to have all the games on all the big screens all the time. They're big Tri-County boosters, supporters. So get over there, check them out. That is Parlor 1886. It is so cool. It is, honestly, it's kind of got that same little bit different, but it's that same old tavern kind of vibe that I was telling you about earlier. Old building. They've gone in, done some modernizing and retrofitting, and man, really cool spot. A lot of room in there. And big tall ceilings. I love big tall ceilings. And Parlor 1886, Flora's living room, located in downtown Flora on Main Street. All right, Shaun, we got about 5 minutes left in today's show of just like real talk time. Let's read some text messages. Okay. And are you coming on the show tomorrow?
Yeah.
Tomorrow I want to discuss, I teased it today, but tomorrow I want us to discuss why we don't have recall elections in Mississippi and why our legislature hasn't been able to do anything about it. And we're going to play a game of what if tomorrow with that.
Okay.
I think that can be fun. Text. Let's see here. Bobcat says, you worked on the Al Gore campaign? Does he mean global climate change hoaxer becoming a billionaire off foolish people campaign?
If Al Gore had become President, Bobcat, we never would have gone to Iraq. I want to say that. I've said that for the last 20 years. So never, and there'd be all those people would not be dead. So just I'm sticking to that one.
Yeah, I want to say somebody called in yesterday, or maybe it was you today, whatever. Somebody talked about how Democrats keep getting us in all these global wars. It may have been the other Jerry that called in yesterday that said it, and I wanted to be like, and I forgot to say it, but George W. Bush drug us into a foreign war as well.
One they made up. Yeah. I mean, and I firmly believe this to this day, that if Al Gore had got it, which I think, by the way, talk about stolen elections. I know Bobcat loves that topic. Look back to 2000. So,
anonymous texter says, I do agree that Kamala has been frozen out. However, she is not qualified to run our country. She has no foreign policy background, and other than being DA and a prosecutor, really doesn't have any political background. To assume that she can run the entire country is very presumptuous, and putting her as the vice president was a mistake on the Biden administration part. They did it as a token gesture to have a black female in that role, and that comes in as not meant as a racial comment. It's simply meant as a fact. Well, that's true. I don't disagree with you. I'm not saying Kamala is or isn't capable of running the country. I'm just making the point that she's been painted a certain way on purpose. And if you've never done a public speaking, now look, I get it. If you're going to be a DA, if you're going to be the attorney general, if you're going to be a senator, if you're going to be the vice president, you should take some public speaking classes, and you should get good at it.
Yeah.
But until I've done 2 public speaking engagements, and I just turned one down. It is hard. And you got the pressure, and it ain't like what am I trying to say here? It's not like one at a fundraiser where everybody there loves you.
Yeah.
When you're doing these press conferences and you got all the media and cameras and all that stuff, and they're questioning you about something you have no control over, like the border. They made her the borders are, but didn't give her any power to do anything. Mm-hmm. And because I think knowing her record as a prosecutor, I think she would close the border.
Yeah, if you actually, a lot of people don't remember that back in 2019, the Democrats were attacking her when she was running for president about how harsh she was on criminals. I mean, so
she was using criminals as slave labor. Hell, I ain't got no problem with that. Sign me up.
They were, the far further left hated her because of her prosecutorial background, because of the things she did as a DA and Attorney General.
But she's a great example of what happens when you sell your soul to a party instead of sticking to what you are. Her aspirations to become vice president or president overran the content of her character.
I think she thought, and I think you and I probably would have thought the same thing. Think about this. The president's 4 million years old. He's going to get elected, and he's going to only serve 4 years. And he's probably, I bet you they kind of, when they told her or implied it, right? Because it would fit. I'd believe them. I'd be like, they'd be like, Shaun, Joe's going to serve this term, and, he's going to be in his 80s. And you're thinking, okay, I'm going to be president in 4 years. Who's not going to take that deal?
Sure.
I can't blame her for that. I mean, you're thinking it's not 8 years. You're talking about 4 years.
Yep.
I mean, yeah, I bet she was like, you know what? Okay, why not? What's to lose? Well, what she lost was quite a bit, because she didn't realize that the Biden people were so hungry for power and to retain power that they'd freeze her out and make her look like an idiot to the rest of the country. And I bet she wasn't expecting that.
They took the teeth out of it for sure. Let's take a call to close out the show on the Mazda Jackson phone line. Hey, you're on there. You got about a minute.
All right, knucklehead. Let's talk about how smart she is, okay? Let's go back to the debate with Biden that she bombed in. She was attacking him because he opposed forced busing back in the 70s, like a lot of people did. Can you imagine trying to support forced busing today? Seriously, Shaun, do you know anybody, black or white, who would support it today? But she was actually going out there on that limb. Seriously.
What did she was talking about? She was, because Biden was against forced busing?
Yeah, she was attacking him. Go back and look at it.
Yeah, I mean, I remember the conversation.
Well, she claims she was one of those people on the bus.
It was a big deal back then when she did it. I mean, that's nobody wants that today. Nobody. Well, black, white, nobody.
Okay, Jimmy, do you also remember when they were attacking her for how strong a prosecutor she was? You remember that too?
Yeah, I also remember when she was Attorney General. If you remember the Klan decision from Alabama and the Supreme Court when they tried to get the donor list for the NAACP. She tried to do the same thing in California to all the pro-life organizations, and she got stopped in court over that when she was doing just what the segregation.
Well, good thing you're not a pro-life party anymore, according to your new platform, Jimmy. So,
it is a pro-life party.
Is it?
I just say let's go national.
It's not now.
No, they said we overturned Roe v. Wade. It went back to the states. That's what conservatives have been saying for a long time.
Okay. Jimmy, I got to take my break.
Who want to do the national ban?
Let's pick this up tomorrow.
Most conservatives don't.
We can find it out later.
Let's pick it up tomorrow. Thanks, Jimmy. We'll be right back. Welcome back in to the Clay Edwards Show, the Land the Plane for the day. Man, Shaun's one of my top 5 favorite shows of all time.
Yeah, it was a fun one today.
It was a good time, man. We'll be back tomorrow to discuss more. Sorry I didn't get to read more of your texts, but phone calls take priority on the Mazda Jackson phone line here. Always love to hear from our callers. Be ready tomorrow. Going to be another big one. Who knows what all happens today? News is coming at us. I mean, historic political news is hitting us every day now. It's like hard to even know what to talk about. And we hadn't talked local in two or 3 days. So
what will just happen over the course of the next few hours is going to be exciting, I'm sure.
All the news drops at 9. We'll see y'all tomorrow. Thank you. Bye.